we have got to go back and find out what the lessons of the past were.
In the current climate, how do you apply the lessons of the past to the present in our divided country?
I will say either we know and understand history or we're destined to repeat it. So the response to the question would be, we have got to go back and find out what the lessons of the past were. And the only way we can find that out is by looking back to see what we did wrong, how we allowed ourselves to do it, and how can we overcome that.
During your early service, did you notice the same racial tension toward other minority groups like Asian or Native American?
You know, Mike, that question is painful because I can remember my 4 years at the Naval Academy. The person who I felt was persecuted and just trampled more than anybody else in the company was not me. I was only Black in the company, but we had a kid by the name of Alex Lay, who was of Chinese descent. Alex, I don't even know if he'd ever been to China, but he had come from, his ancestry was Chinese. And it started the moment the brigade came back. We had some firsties who just were unmerciful in the way that they treated him, and it never went away. And it persisted because some of my classmates, some of your and my classmates who had sort of been trained by these, and I'll just call them racist firsties, they kind of adopted some of the other stuff. So Alex Lay is a person that I feel poorly about every single time I think about it because I didn't step up and say something, or defend him. But I'm, I just didn't know what I could do. But I witnessed the way that he was treated, which made the way that people approach me. I mean, that was dwarfed by the way that he was treated.
You talk about that, and you talked about we have to learn from history. I just finished reading the book Facing the Mountain, which deals with the Japanese Japanese Americans before 7 December and after 7 December, and a short story that the group that was actually going over to Italy where they were training in Alabama. These were Americans, Japanese descent, and there was a German POW camp there, very close to the base. And they were working for some of the farmers. The German POWs, who had actually been shooting Americans just a few weeks before, were treated better than the Japanese Americans getting ready to go to Italy to try to kill Germans. From the audience, during your NASA piloting days and then later as administrator of NASA, what was the biggest challenge you might have encountered around diversity and inclusion? Was there a parallel challenge you had to address similar to what you experienced in the Marine Corps?
I think they were identical, to be quite honest. It was, and it will, unfortunately, we will be battling this until both of us are no longer walking around on this planet because some of it's human nature. But again, the biggest challenge I found was the people. And the challenge in that was trying to help them understand, much the same as, you were an infantry Marine, so you had this in spades to what I did as an aviator, but trying to convince the young private first class that the mission we're about to go on is important and it will make a difference. What I always tried to do everywhere I've been is help people understand, help them contribute to the planning that's going on so that they feel that it's their idea, or at least that part of it is their idea. And we approach diversity and inclusion the same way in NASA, and I did it in my units in the Marine Corps the same way, trying to help people internalize what it was that we were about to undertake and why it was important. Because people tend to support things if they can believe in it. I think one of the reasons we're having so much difficulty with race relations again today and diversity is because people don't believe that it's important at all. They've been told that if they can just get rid of a group of people, things will be so much better. And they don't recognize the greatness of our nation is due to the fact that we are so diverse, and that it's the diversity of the people who built this nation that makes us so great. You know, and if I look at NASA, you know, I shudder to think what we would be like today were it not for the women who were the human computers, white and black. They were women of all creeds and colors, not just the black women that you saw in the movie Hidden Figures, but these were the women who were doing the manual calculations for us to send humans to space in the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo days. And they were there because men just could not do that weren't interested in doing that kind of tedious work. They were the engineers and the big thinkers, but somebody had to be in the back room doing the tedious work of calculation and stuff until computers came along.
You said you didn't know what to do at the time to help your friend Alex. That's how people feel now.
Yeah. What
can one person do?
Hey, one person can do a lot. I get emotional about this part, and it's.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
I think it's because I know very well how difficult it is to have the courage to speak up, because I didn't have the courage to speak up for 4 years when I saw him struggle. But I say now, I have to have the courage to speak up, and I have to have the courage to have that very difficult conversation with a white man or a white woman who I may not understand, but I know doesn't understand me. There, in this audience today, are patriots, true patriots, but they don't buy my story. They don't buy my act about diversity being important. And all I can say to them is take a little bit of time to talk to somebody who's different than you and find out, what's going through their mind and what they've done to contribute to this great country of ours.